Okay, it's garage day. I've been putting off this repair a long time. Basically, I got bad bushings. Here and here. Most specifically, here and down here. Anyway, both control arms, well, control arm, the front lower link and the rear lower link. We're just gonna do them all. Just, you know, cause I'm excited. I don't know about you. Now, I'm told that alignment's important, so I've taken a paint marker. And for reference, we've marked this bolt. I'll probably use a new bolt. In fact, I'll probably have to cut that bolt, but at least it'll get it close till we can get it in with an alignment. That is, for reference, we'll back out of here. This bolt right here. And then there's another one right over here that we're marking. We're gonna do that on both sides of the rig before we take anything. Here's this one, and here's that one. There's two bushings specifically I came in here to change. This one, and that one right back there. And we're gonna do the other ones too, maybe, but we won't get them all done today. But this one right here is the one I was worried about. So, if you're trying to figure this out, I don't give advice, because, well, I don't have much to give. But here's what I've done so far. Taken the hub off so that I can move the rear axle out of the way to get this and this in place. And I'll show you what this tool is later. Something I had a friend with a machine shop make. Thank you so much. And it's working. I cannot wait. And we're going to push that bushing rather out. I'll show you in a minute how it works. You probably already figured out how this works, but there's a sleeve. It's machined to match this part of the bushing. There's another sleeve machined for it to go inside of it. There's a threaded rod, and the threaded rod pulls this sleeve through, pushes the bushing into this sleeve here. When you're all done, you just take her apart, put the new one in, reverse. Okay, here's a shot of it going back in. Everything's as straight as I can get it. That gray stuff's just a little bit of anti-seize, mostly because I figured it couldn't hurt. And it might help it slide a little bit. I wondered if there might be a taper on this. I measured it with a caliper. If there is a taper, it's not enough for my eye to see it. And it seems to be going back in okay. So we're just going nice and slow. Using hand tools because I actually want to feel what's going on. But I think this is going to work. Okay, so here we are. We had some heat, we had some broken bolts, we had some air hammered out bolts. Long story short, I'm short bolts. I thought I bought them all, so if I was going to give advice, it would be buy the bolts. Buy them all of them. All of them. All right, we'll go to the other side, we'll see what we can learn. So I might as well show you where I started. It's with this bolt right here, mostly because, well, it comes off the easiest and it gives me access to other places. This one came off real nice, both sides. So we're gonna take this one off first. Got a jack holding spring up. Pull that out, hopefully lower the coil bucket or the rear lower link, whatever you wanna call it. Okay, the next thing, actually the first thing I took off was the brake caliper and rotor. It's just hanging over there. The bracket's up here somewhere. And of course I have a C slides pin, but the next thing that I'm taking off is this wheel hub. Because I've just found it easier to work without it in the way, actually more specifically without the axle in the way. So we're going to take the wheel hub off. It's 4 bolts. You can see the hole right there, and there's 2 on the bottom. Come in from the back. I found it easier to push the axle back a little bit. Put a socket on here. They're all out. These have been off, you know, fairly recently for a different repair. So probably in my case, couple little taps, yep, and off they come, which is ideal. Okay, the reason I took those off is I wanted to be able to move the axle up out of the way to get enough clearance to take this bushing out. I'm going to take it out before I start battling with all this stuff, because then my control arms are still holding the weight of this and I don't have to fight with it. So next thing we're going to do is put just a touch of heat on this, just a little. Put our equipment there like we did the other side and push this out. So as some of you have likely already noted in the comments, you can't just hook a tool like this up and send it. Like everything's got to be lined up straight, or you might break this, and that would be a bad day. The clearances on this one are built by a machinist. There's a taper here to let it get started. Everything's started. I did it by hand till I knew it was going to go. And then I've hooked this on it because, well, time saving. But if you don't have the ability to score something like this, there are lots of ways, none of them fun, to get these bushings out. I'm going to let some other people chime in the comments and tell you what they are, because I'm curious. This was the one I thought of that would cause the least pain. What's your method? Fire? Hammers? Saws? Just curious. And she's free. Well, as they say, installation is reverse of removal. So we started on this side and we pushed. I've had it apart, we checked. That metal sleeve, collar, race, whatever you call it, is even on both sides. So take her apart and that bushing's done. Then we're gonna go see if we can break off these two bolts right here, which broke, both of them on the other side, which is convenient. And then, you know, we'll start into this and we'll start, it'll be fun. That's what I'm getting at. Okay, one last time, this tool, just, you know, in case you were wondering what it looked like. Here it is. This is the old bushing. That's the sleeve that it's pushing into. There is a taper you can see, and that's important because when it lets go, you can kind of feel it pop and line up in that taper. This right here is machined to fit the end of the bushing and is the exact same diameter as that hole in the bushing all the way through. That's important. It keeps it lined up. And then it's just backing plates, washers, a couple nuts to make a lock, whatever. So I'm sure there's other ways to get that out. Comment below because somebody might need the help. But if you've got a lathe or a friend with a lathe, like in my case, and man, it was really great. Thank you very much. It came out like butter. In fact, of everything I have to do for this job, this is the easiest part, thanks to this tool. Okay, I've done it up to try to protect the threads. I'm gonna wrap it some cardboard, tuck it away in a box of tools that, you know, I may never use again, but if I want them, I got it because it was beautiful. And someday when I have to do the rear differential bushings in this, I'm gonna beg to have another one of these built at that size because it was just pleasant, you know. It's the little things. All right, if you're stuck getting this free of this, what worked for me, I jammed a bar up under here so that I didn't lose my downward force, and then just some precision, patient persuasion with a hammer. Down here, we're gonna use a tie rod end separator though. All right, we've been working it. You can see, maybe, it is separating. I'll get you a light. It's just a tie rod end separator used in a way it was never designed to be used, but it's pushing it out of there. Good luck to you. Okay, the next thing I took off, so finish getting this strut out of there to get it out of the way. And then we're gonna do the sway bar link. And then we're gonna start trying to break these these up here, because they're the ones that I'm most annoyed by. It's gonna be cute. Here we go, we're on our way back together. We got this seated, we got the bottom one seated, everything's seated, nothing's torqued. Strut's in, we're working on the spring carrier. There's an arrow on that rubber. Right now it's pointed in. It needs to be pointed out toward the outside of the vehicle according to the manual, which you should get. They're free. Don't take the advice of some random knucklehead on the internet. There's one on the top one too. It also points out. They match up to the spring. You can see a little indent the way the spring was sitting. There you go. Okay, we're gonna get this right. Okay, I'm back. I took some time off, you know. I was getting tired. I've just found that when I get tired, dumb mistakes happen. So it was time. Oh, we're finally finished, I think. I hope. Probably not. And the goal right now is with a crude method of measuring tapes on tires to get the alignment close enough it's not deadly. Okay, so the first trip on the road was, well, it was terrible. It was concerned. We didn't go far. It was all over the road everywhere, and I was concerned. But we took a breath, came home, put a tape measure between the tires, which I know is a pretty crude way to do it, and it was way out. And I couldn't figure out why until I'm going to show you. See these ones right here on each side? They were marked. They were exactly where they were, but they weren't up against the shoulder. There was a gap between here and there. And that is what we call a mistake. Yep, made one, but that particular one, that was rough. So put her back up in the air, put those back, you know, where they should have been to begin with. They looked right-ish, and it was dark when I put them on, and you know how it is. That's why you sleep on it. Just took it down the road, and it's pretty good. Like, yeah, it's not bad. Got an alignment book, like, you know, by somebody that has the tools and the stuff and the knowledge. That's important too. In a couple of days, but it's, you know, it'll go down the road straight and not everywhere. So we're gonna call this a win. I don't know if this is a job you would try on your own, or maybe even should. I can tell you I should not have. No idea what I was doing. There was a lot of cutting. It went well. It went well. So, you know, I don't know you. I'm not giving advice other than if you're going to try it, get yourself a service manual. Watch somebody that knows more about it than I do. And don't take anybody's advice on the internet that you haven't met. Unless they got a lot of credentials. And even then, how do you check them? So it's just me saying you might be able to do it.